All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're basically cracking open the blueprint for building your very own automated trading strategies. We're diving deep into MQL5, which is the specialized language that's going to let you turn your ideas into a trading bot that just never gets tired. So let's do this. So here's the big question, right? You've got this trading idea, maybe a strategy that really works when you do it by hand. But how do you actually translate that into a fully automated, completely emotionless robot that just works around the clock? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down. And the answer, you guessed it, is a language built for this exact job. And that language is MQL5. Now, this isn't some general purpose language you have to wrestle with to make it work for trading. No, this thing was literally born in the world of financial markets. And you got to pay attention to a couple of key things here. It's high level, which really just means it's easier for us humans to read and write. And its whole purpose, its one and only mission, is to automate financial trading. That's it. Super focused. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with what MQL5 even is. Its DNA, if you will. Then we'll get into its syntax. Think of it as the grammar. After that, we'll look at the core building blocks you'll be using, piece together the bot's brain, and then wrap up with some of the more advanced stuff for building really sophisticated systems. All right, let's kick things off with the language itself. So what really makes MQL5 tick? Well, the creators didn't try to reinvent the wheel. Instead, they were smart. They built it on the shoulders of a programming giant, giving it this incredibly solid, battle-tested foundation right from the get-go. And that giant is C++. Seriously, if you've ever touched C++ or even languages like Java or C#, you're going to feel right at home here. The syntax, the structure, it's all going to look super familiar. And that's a huge, huge advantage. You're not starting from scratch. You're just learning a specialized version that's been perfectly tuned for one single purpose: trading. So how exactly does it build on C++? Well, it's not just a carbon copy. It's more like C++ that's been put through a specialized training program. It keeps all the power, but it adds these, well, guardrails is the perfect word. There's safety features built in because, let's face it, in the world of finance, a small bug can have huge consequences. And this chart really lays it all out. On the left, yeah, you've got all the good stuff from C++, object-oriented design, classes, all that power. But look at the right side. This is what's so important. No address arithmetic. That basically means it's much harder to accidentally crash your program with memory errors. No goto operator. That forces you to write code that's easier to read and debug. So don't think of these as limitations. They're safety features designed to protect you in an environment where a single mistake can be, well, very expensive. Okay, so no matter how complicated your trading strategy gets, it's always built from the same basic materials. In the programming world, we call these data types. You can think of them as the Lego bricks of your code. They're the containers that hold all the vital info your robot needs to think and act. So in MQL5, we've got two main kinds of building blocks. You've got your basics, which are the absolute workhorses. We're talking integers for counting things, real numbers like double for prices, a bool for simple yes or no questions, strings for text, and the super important datetime for tracking when things happen. Then you've got your complex types, which is where you get to combine those basic bricks into your own custom-made pieces, like structures and classes. And this is where it all clicks into place. You start to see why having these specific types is so crucial. You're not just dealing with random numbers here. You use a double for price because you need every single one of those decimal points for accuracy. You use an int for counting bars or trades. And a bool, that's your simple yes or no switch, like, is it okay to trade right now? It's all about using the right tool for the right job. So you might be wondering what happens when you mix and match these types. Like, what if you add an integer to a double? Well, MQL5 is pretty smart about this. It has a built-in hierarchy, a pecking order. It'll automatically upgrade the lesser type to the higher type to prevent you from losing information. The whole point is to make sure you don't accidentally chop off the decimal points from a price, which, as you can imagine, is a subtle but absolutely critical feature. Okay, so we have our building blocks. Now it's time to build the brain. We need a nervous system for our robot, something that lets it feel and react to the market in real time. And that's where the whole event-driven idea comes in. Your code doesn't just run in a straight line and then stop. Nope. It sits and waits, ready to spring into action when something happens. And this is pretty much the life cycle of every trading robot. Think of it like this. On init is when the robot is born. It runs just once at the very beginning to get everything set up. Then you have onTick. This is the robot's entire life. It's the heartbeat. This function gets called every single time the price changes. This is where all your analysis and trading logic lives. And finally, you have on init. This is what happens when you shut the robot down. It's its chance to clean up after itself.
Now, the big thing to understand here is that these names, onIt, onTick, and so on, they're not just suggestions, they are non-negotiable. The trading platform is hardwired to look for functions with these exact names and signatures. It's like a secret handshake. If you don't get it exactly right, the platform just won't know what to do with your code. It'll just ignore it.
All right, now we're going to level up. We're moving beyond writing simple little scripts and getting into how you build powerful, professional, and reusable trading systems. And to do that, we have to talk about something called object-oriented programming, or OOP for short.
So the first big idea in OOP is inheritance. Think of it like having a blueprint for a standard car. It's got an engine, wheels, a chassis, the basics. Now, using inheritance, you can take that basic blueprint and create a new one for a sports car. It gets all the standard car parts for free, you just add a turbocharger and some spoilers. You're reusing the original design instead of starting from scratch every single time. It's a huge time saver. Okay, the next concept is polymorphism. And I know that word sounds way more complicated than it actually is. It's all about flexibility. Going back to our car analogy, it means you can have a garage full of different vehicles. The standard car, the sports car, maybe a truck. And you can just tell each one drive, without caring what kind of vehicle it is. Each one knows how to drive itself. In trading, this lets you write super clean code that can handle all sorts of different signal types without getting messy. So, what's the big payoff for learning all this? Well, you can build stuff like this. You can create these incredibly complex, totally interactive control panels that sit right on your trading chart, with buttons and sliders and readouts. We're not talking about a simple script anymore. This is a full-blown application. And OOP is the secret sauce that makes building something this complex actually manageable. Okay, one more advanced topic, managing your program's resources like a pro. This is all about dynamic memory management. Think of it like this. Instead of buying a whole fleet of cars you might not need, you just rent one exactly when you need it, and you give it back the second you're done. It keeps your robot running lean, mean, and super efficient. And the way you do this, the way you rent that memory, is with the new operator. So let's say your robot spots a potential trade. Bam! You can use new to instantly create a special object just to manage that one trade. You're only using the resources you need exactly when you need them. And just as important as renting the car is returning it when you're done. That's what the delete operator is for. Once that trade is over, you use delete to release that memory back to the system. This is absolutely critical for preventing so-called memory leaks and making sure your robot can run smoothly for days, weeks, or even longer without crashing. So let's just do a quick recap. We've got the blueprint, right? MQL5 is basically C++ for traders, complete with safety guardrails. We've got our raw materials, all those data types for handling prices and times. We've got the assembly instructions, those event handlers like onTick that act as the robot's brain. And we've even seen how to do some advanced engineering with OOP to build some seriously complex stuff. Look, you now have all the fundamental pieces. You've got the blueprint, you've got the tools, you've got the rulebook. The only thing that's missing is your strategy. So the question really isn't if you can build a trading robot anymore. The real question is, what are you going to build first?